Imagine living in a land where every kingdom has its own money, its own language, its own laws, its own measurements, and even roads built different widths. Traveling just 50 miles could mean becoming a foreigner overnight. Trade was slow. Communication was chaos. War never ended. Then, one man conquered them all. A ruler so ruthless that he buried scholars alive, burned books, forced millions into slavery, and became history's first emperor. Yet without his terrifying vision, China might never have become China. This is the story of the brutal genius of Qin Shi Huang, the man who standardized an empire.
For over 250 years, China wasn't one country, it was dozens. The strongest were 7 great kingdoms locked in endless warfare. Qin, Chu, Han, Wei, Zhao, Yan, Qi. Every state believed it deserved to rule all others. Kings spent fortunes building armies. Farmers became soldiers. Cities became fortresses. Entire generations knew nothing except war. But another problem was quietly destroying prosperity. Every kingdom used different writing, different currencies, different laws, different measurements. Even the distance between wheels on wagons varied. A cart built in Qin couldn't properly use roads built in Chu. Merchants constantly exchanged currencies. Government orders became impossible to understand across borders. China wasn't merely divided politically. It was divided economically, culturally, administratively. The entire civilization functioned like 7 different countries.
In 259 BC, a prince was born in the kingdom of Qin. His name? Yingzheng. No one knew he would change history forever. At only 13 years old, he inherited the throne. Surrounded by political conspiracies, assassination attempts, and ambitious nobles, the young king learned one lesson early. Mercy invited rebellion. Strength created order. Under brilliant generals like Wang Zhen, Qin's armies became unstoppable. Iron discipline, superior logistics, crossbows, massive cavalry. One by one, the rival kingdoms fell. By 221 BC, for the first time in history, China had one ruler. Yingzheng abandoned the title king. He chose something never used before. Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor.
Conquering China was the easy part. Keeping it together was nearly impossible. The empire stretched over millions of people, different cultures, different traditions, different governments, different languages. If nothing changed, the empire would collapse. So Qin Shi Huang did something revolutionary. He erased regional identity. Everything became standardized. Everything.
The emperor began with language. Across China, thousands of written characters had evolved differently. Government officials often couldn't read documents from neighboring states. So Prime Minister Li Si created one standardized script. Officials across the empire now wrote exactly the same way. Laws became understandable. Taxes became organized. Military orders traveled faster. Ideas spread farther. The spoken language still differed, but the written language united the empire. Even today, modern Chinese writing traces its roots to these reforms.
Next came commerce. Before Qin, hundreds of coin designs circulated. Knife-shaped money, spade-shaped money, round coins, square coins. Trade required constant exchange. The emperor replaced them with one imperial currency. Then he standardized weights, measures, lengths, volumes. A pound in northern China became the same pound in the south. Merchants finally trusted transactions. Markets expanded. Taxes became predictable. Trade flourished. For the first time, the empire shared one economic language.
The emperor understood something modern governments still know. Infrastructure creates power. Thousands of miles of imperial highways spread outward from the capital. Every road followed the same engineering standards. Even wagons were standardized. Wheel spacing became identical across China. A cart built anywhere could travel everywhere. Armies moved faster. Trade expanded. Officials reached distant provinces in days instead of weeks. Roads became the arteries of the empire.
But this transformation came at an unimaginable price. Millions were forced into labor. Many died constructing roads, palaces, canals, and the earliest Great Wall. Heavy taxes crushed farmers. Strict laws punished even small crimes. Books criticizing the government were burned. Scholars opposing imperial ideology were executed. Fear became another tool of standardization. Qin Shi Huang believed absolute unity required absolute control. His methods remain among history's most controversial. Ironically, the empire Qin Shi Huang created didn't survive him. He died in 210 BC while searching for immortality. Just 4 years later, the Qin dynasty collapsed. Rebellions erupted. The empire nearly shattered. Yet something remarkable happened. The next dynasty, the Han, kept almost every reform. The writing, the roads, the bureaucracy, the measurements, the currency. His dynasty disappeared. His system remained.
History remembers Qin Shi Huang as both a tyrant and a visionary. He united China through conquest. He ruled through fear. But he also built institutions so effective, they survived more than 2,000 years. Today, when people across China read the same writing, travel roads connecting distant provinces, or use standardized measurements, they are living inside a framework first imagined by the first emperor. His empire fell. His ideas did not.
Perhaps that is the greatest paradox in history.
Sometimes the most brutal rulers leave behind the strongest foundations. If you enjoyed this journey into history's greatest turning points, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and tell us in the comments, which single historical decision do you think changed the world the most? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.